In the cushy village of Grosse Tete, Louisiana, there holds a macabre history of violence that once shook the community to its very core. A bloody mystery that still remains unanswered to this day. In the year of our Lord 1939, local 35-year-old bathroom attendant Agnes Flo Damsel was walking home from her late-night shift at the Grosse Tete Mommy Milk Market. A Catholic single mother to 15 children, Flo had been working overtime every evening for the past year, the money she earned going directly to the treatment of her children's various forms of rare illnesses, ranging from advanced spina bifida, standing and sitting polio, shiny polywhirl, and the dreaded Rudy Scooty Cough-a-Rooney disease, for which there was no known cure at that time. Flo was in good spirits, as it was in fact Christmas Eve, and she had saved enough money to purchase a gift of a new pair of shoes for her children to share. A hazy sheen lightly glazed the snow-kissed landscape. A single wolf howled in the distance. Flo quickened her pace as a creeping dread crawled up her spine. The last thing she heard was the sound of a blade pushing through her ribs, and a callous string quartet playing appropriately dire music. The next morning, local chimney appraiser Ed Smith was walking his pet basset hound, Rusty Trumpet, through the freshly fallen snow. Ed was startled as Rusty began to howl at him, wagging his tail at an oddly displaced mound in the snow. What the dog had found would have undoubtedly caused Ed to spiral into crippling alcoholism, had he not already been a raging drunkard. It was post-Prohibition America, after all. This is where we would like to give a trigger warning. We will be describing the state of the victim's body. However, in respect for the victim, we will only be using flat medical terms as to not glorify her murder. The body had been stabbed 347 times in the torso. Experts speculate the suspect was striking the woman in tune with the popular big band jazz song In the Mood. Clearly, he was in the mood for murder. Merely a small joke to liven the tension of a woman's life ending. There was so much blood, like, oh my god, so much blood. It looked as though someone had repeatedly shot a gallon jug of V8 tomato juice with an M1918 Browning automatic rifle, if it only shot hands holding knives instead of bullets. Her organs were strewn about the area in a way that looked like confetti that she may have thrown in the air at one of her many fragile children's birthday parties. Due to his hobby as a heart surgeon on the weekends, Ed was able to notice that the victim's spleen was missing amongst the gory mess. A feat most impressive considering, once again, the body looked like someone had smashed a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli with the mallet from a carnival strongman game. Ed immediately fled to the Grosse Tete police station. Unfortunately, he was met with indifference by the investigators, remarking that Ed was probably just drunk and imagining things. Others stated if there was a murder, the victim most likely talked back to her husband. With no lead suspects and a lack of care by local law enforcement, the murderer was free to strike again. And strike again, he did. Wrong track. A series of 15 murders soon followed. It's important that we focus on the victims, as too often they are overshadowed by the perpetrators of these crimes, glorifying the sickly actions instead of remembering the individuals who had their lives snuffed out. But then again, we're still alive, and don't want to waste our limited time on this dust orb hearing about some dead person's hobby of bird watching or how they got straight A's in geography. So we'll just quickly rattle off the chaff for brevity. Kathy Bodaggett, Gertrude Smitty's, Petunia Smeckledorf, Sketty von Smetty, Skittles Taste the Rainbow, The Butcher, The Baker, The Candlestick Maker, Evander Holyfield, Amanda Hugginkiss, Ralph Macchio, Winfried Wolfenschlegelstein Hassenbergerdorf, Pearl Rack, Letty Shack, and Jane Two Smackenvarels. Each of the victims fell under the category of either single mother or local prostitute, and their ages ranged from 32 to 45. All of them butchered in the same manner as Flo, their spleen missing, the body cut up like diced ham on a charcuterie board. Though, with the 15th victim, Jane Two Smackenvarels, came a new addition to the ritual. A note was left in the victim's mouth. The cryptic message, hastily written in red crayon, stated, "Neener, neener, got your spleener." The police continued to ignore the death toll, chalking up each of the murders to angered wildlife, self-defense, or God's wrath on their immoral female lifestyles.
Gotcha, bitch!
This would all change after the 16th victim, 19-year-old Sunday school teacher and known kissless virgin Mabel Honeydew, was found butchered outside the orphanage she volunteered at. She was displaced in the same manner as the previous victims. However, a new message was found in her mouth. The text reading, "Knock knock, who's there? Not your spleen, haha." The lead investigator on the scene, Biff Hamlet, was interviewed by the local newspaper, the Daily Teat. When asked about the teen's death, Biff had this to say: "That sick bastard sent one of God's angels back to him. Not a hooker, not an old spinstress, someone who mattered, with a bright future and rich parents. He butchered her like some sort of grim-reaping slasher slayer, and thus the moniker of grim-reaping slasher slayer of gross teats was born." Unfortunately, very little clues were gleaned from the crime scene. The first reason was because the police walked all over the evidence. On top of that, they began poking at the body with their bare hands and whispering, "Ew, squishy." One officer, Tony Sullivan, accidentally dropped his turkey sandwich into the victim's chest cavity. This led the police on a wild turkey chase, interrogating every sandwich maker in a 10-mile radius, to no avail. The second reason little evidence was gained was due to monetary reasons. The Gross Teat Police Department wanted to raise money to purchase a new police dog mascot. To aid in the fundraising, the Chief of Police, Archibald Richards, allowed investigators to charge $20 for bystanders to take pictures with the body.
Oh God, get that bag.
For an extra $5, customers could even pose holding a butcher's knife and dress up in various costumes, including a turkey sandwich. Mabel's death was also notable as the last victim attributed to the Grim Reaping Slasher Slayer. With no new victims or leads, Chief Richards advised his investigators to keep an eye out for anyone who looked homosexual or Irish. Unfortunately, this decree changed very little, as anyone perceived as gay or Irish were already being held in the Gross Teat Correctional Facility. At this, the case, much like Agnes, was left cold and open, forgotten to time. Until today. After over 3/4 of a century later, internet sleuths all over have taken up the mantle of solving this holy grail of cold cases. True crime subreddits all over have combed the information to find any scrap of evidence to point them in the right direction. One brave user who goes by the username MurderIsMyPassion437 even went to the town of Gross Teat to examine the crime scene for themselves. Murder Is My Passion boasts over 400 hours of true crime content consumption, making them the perfect replacement for a trained and experienced investigator. Though the proof is in the murder pudding, as they say. As while in Gross Teat, they were able to capture this video of them possibly finding the murder weapon used in the slayings.
I better get so many heckin' likes on this post or else I'm gonna be pissed. I spent so much money on this fake blood. I spent my entire allowance from my parents. It freaking doesn't grow on trees. Those idiots better think otherwise. Oh, I better get likes. I better get Reddit gold. Okay, just gotta. Okay, here I am in Gross Teat. Oh wow, the Bayou's crazy, man. Oh geez, I'm here in my best Batman pants to be an investigator. Oh my God, guys, what is that? Is it, guys? What is that? Oh man, I think I found it, guys. Guys, whoa, I found the murder weapon. Oh, that's crazy. I can't believe the investigators missed that. I better get, this better get so many updates, and you better give Reddit gold. That's all I'm saying, because this is breaking news, guys. Oh, jeez. Okay, fuck that. Oh wait, no, that's my mom's. Oh, jeez.
As you can see, the video is extremely compelling. However, some skeptics pointed out one flaw to sow doubt of the validity of the evidence presented. The knife seen in the video is quite shiny. Blue jays, a bird that is quite common to the area, are attracted to shiny objects. Putting these pieces together, there is a good chance that the murder weapon would have been picked up by local flora. Or is it fauna? Flora is like plants in Spanish, I think. Fauna reminds me of a fawn. That's an animal, right? Whatever. The point is, a bird probably picked it up, using it to fashion some sort of knife-based nest to keep its chicks protected. But the video seems airtight otherwise. Though we are just impartial storytellers, giving all the information, we wouldn't want to push you one way or another, and encourage you instead to do your own research and come to your own conclusion. Take the red pill, follow the money trail. What we will leave you with is 3 prime suspects. The 3 that the collective true crime community theorized to most likely be the grim reaping slasher slayer of Grossteeds. The first is Samuel Abernathy, the local butcher. Samuel was a frequent customer to the local hookers, trading pork ham hocks for over-the-pants handies. He was beaten and forced to wear women's clothes by his mother well into his 30s, before he murdered her and turned her into a coffee table in self-defense. He was also notorious for blowtorching small woodland creatures, which is the only way he could maintain an erection. The second prime suspect was Barney Dino Suarez. Barney was remembered by the townsfolk for dressing in an inflatable purple costume to sing at children's birthday parties. However, it was suspected he had a darker side. Anyone who visited Barney's home would be told repeatedly, "Please do not look under my staircase." It is also thought Barney had a secret homosexual relationship with his twink gardener, who went by the name of BJ Stamps. Though Barney's wife Barbara Baby Bobstein claims that she and her husband lived a very happy sexless marriage. The last suspect was full-time crazy transient Gabby Knife Hands. Gabby had cut off his own hands and replaced them with knives. He was known to the town due to his strange hobby of walking around the streets at night, waving his hands aggressively, and stating, "The next single mother or prostitute I see, I will literally stab to death. This is not a joke. I hate women so fucking much, I could just stab them until their spleens fall out." Most investigators find Gabby to be the least likely of the 3, as he just doesn't have that murderer look to him. Unfortunately, this is all we have for this story. Law enforcement encourages anyone with new information to call their anonymous Hot Teats hotline to aid in solving this near century-old mystery. But for now, if you ever find yourself in the Bayou and hear the cruel sound of macabre string section, pray to God you leave with your spleen still intact.